Okay, so good day, mathematicians. Today we'll be talking about significant figures. Significant figures. Let's get into it. Now, when you hear the word significant, what do you think about? Think about something that's important, right? You think about something that matters, something that we are considering. And that's exactly what significant, in terms of significant figures, means in mathematics. What do I mean? Let's see. Let's say we have the number 126. And you'll often see it written this way. Correct this to two significant figures. Now, when you see this, you might be wondering, hey, what does that mean? It means we want the two most significant figures that define this number. We just want the first two. And how we're going to do that is to count the first two significant figures. 1, 2. So realize 2 is our last significant figure. But we know that we can't write 126 as 12. Those are completely different numbers. So what we do when we're doing significant figures, we look at the number to the right of our last significant figure to determine whether or not we should round up or round down. If the digit that is beside our last significant figure, if that digit is 5 through to 9, that is, if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we round up. If it is less than 5, that is 4, 3, 2, or 1, or even 0, we just write back the last significant figure and the 0 as a placeholder. But you will see in our following examples. So for this one, this 6 is between 5 and 9. So we will be rounding up for this one. So we will now have 1, 3, because when we add the 1 to the 2, we get 3. But we can't just write it as 13. So we put a 0 as our placeholder. And our answer now becomes 130. So 126, correct to two significant figures, A becomes 130. That's our answer. Let's do another example. Let's say we have the number 3,574, and it says we should correct to three significant figures. How you would do this one is similar to what we did above. We would count the first 3 significant figures this time. So it's 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we know we're stopping right there. But we have to look at this number to know if we should round up or to keep the last significant figure that we have. What did we say the rule is? If it is less than 5, we just drop that number and write 0. We do not change the last significant figure. But if it's 5 or above, we have to add 1 to the last significant figure to round up. In this case, we are going to just drop it because we realize that 4 is less than 5. So we get 3,507. What am I going to write now? Well, because we're going to drop this 4, we have to put something to hold in its place, and that is 0. So our answer is 3,570. That is that is this number, 3,574, correct to three significant figures. Now, if you get an answer that is outside of the place, that is, if you get an answer like 300 and something, and you started with 3,000 and something, that would tell you that, hey, I might be doing something wrong. Your answer should be within the same range. It should have the same number of place values. Generally speaking, it should have a similar value to the number that you started with. So this is the number now correct to three significant figures. These zeros that are after a number, because there's no decimal point, these zeros are insignificant. All right, and now we're going to do a final example. Let's call this number 3. Let's get this off the screen. All right, so number 3 now, we now have the number 10,776 correct to, we're going to be doing two significant figures. Two significant figures. So with this one, we'll do something similar to what we did above. We count the first two significant figures. In this case, it's the 1 and the 0. So 1, 2. So we're stopping right here with our number of significant figures. But we have to look at this number right here to determine whether or not we should round up or leave it as is, just to drop the rest of the digits. So we're going to look at this number, and we see that it is between 5 and 9. It is 5 to 9. That is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. So in this case, we're going to round up by adding 1. We're going to add 1 to this place right here. So it now becomes 11,000. And because it's two significant figures, we have to drop these digits at the end and put zeros for the placeholder. So 11,000 now becomes our answer. So when we're doing significant figures, we have to think about what it really means when we say significant figures. Does it mean that we're changing the value of the number? It doesn't mean that we're changing the value of the number significantly. It means we want an approximation. We want the closest figure it is to. We want an approximation that doesn't change the place value of the numbers that we have. So look out for more videos, and I hope you will understand this one and the next one that will be coming.